Good evening, and I'm here with my fellow reporters,
Sarabella,
Shauna,
and we're here to talk to you about the program called International Baccalaureate. What is IB, that you ask? Well, IB is a nonprofit education foundation that offers students 4 very respected programs of international education. These programs develop intellectual, personal, emotional, and social skills that people will need to live in a rapidly globalizing world. This nonprofit education foundation was founded in Geneva, Switzerland in 1968.
So, Diana, what is their purpose? What is their mission?
Their purpose is to they value their high standards and pedagogical leadership, so their purpose is to create students that have such compassion and to intellectual thoughts and lifelong learners and active in the world, so that way we can create a more peaceful and better improved world.
wow, that sounds like they're really,
On top of things.
yeah. Since it's nonprofit, they have to have their money they have to
It
find
has to come from somewhere.
So
Yes.
where does that money come from?
So they have to fund different things to get it. They find different ways to fund it. They have evaluations. Their school has different fees. Their exams for the higher classes,
Mm-hmm.
their students pays the fees for it.
Okay.
For the
Okay.
testing out, like at the at the higher diploma levels, their students take and pay fees for it. That costs, I wanted to say that it was like $100 for some of them.
Okay.
They do different workshops and conventions, and then different audits and different things like that help pay for stuff like that.
Okay.
That sounds very interesting.
Exactly.
Yeah, so they raise their money. And
Somehow they'll find their
yeah,
money.
exactly.
somehow they find it.
So
It-
how do they learn?
The teachers and the educators in their schools are actually very involved in their learning, where in typical schools, it goes to the education board.
True. Very true.
Yeah,
Mhm.
here their teachers are what they get together and
They work
decide.
together?
Yeah, they work together where
Okay.
there's not that lack of involvement between them, where you don't have that lack of communication. So it's very
It's very tight.
It's very
Yeah,
hands-on.
structured.
That way they get the proper education for their students.
Yeah, and the teachers don't feel like it's just testing like in regular typical
Yeah,
schools.
that's exactly what here in the United States we're suffering from is just education is poor, and a lot of teachers are complaining that it's so structured that they're not
Mhm.
able to teach different ways to help out students. So,
Yeah.
very interesting.
Now, who's in charge? Like, who's in charge of these
Exactly.
programs?
Who's the big man?
Who?
Who's
Big man on top.
So they have the actual IB program they call it the Board of Governors, which
Okay.
has the Director General, and then down below them is the Senior Leadership. The Senior Leadership is who actually does the academic set.
okay?
Okay, so they are responsible for the assessments of the schools and things like that, and the external academic relationships in the schools.
Mhm.
But then it further breaks down into within the programs you have the staff selectment, and then you
Mhm.
have the training, and then the coaching, and then the staff evaluations.
Oh, okay. So
Wow.
it's
So
very
it's very, very involved.
Yes, it is. So you have like up high, you have the big people that do this,
The board and the ones
yeah.
that make the decisions.
and then you have within the schools you have
The
the
leadership.
the leadership
Oh, okay.
teams.
Okay.
that
Just
do
to
this.
make sure nothing
Yeah.
falls
Yeah.
short of what's being promised with
Yeah.
the IB program.
It's
Great.
very
Great.
effective.
So some of the impacts that we're going to discuss tonight are impacts made by this IB program. And research shows that in 1993, Jefferson High implemented the IB program. And they implemented this program because they were so far behind in education, and it was a school of minorities. And by implementing this program, they were trying to bring in a diverse culture for students there at Jefferson High. And what ended up happening was 35, when they started to do the IB program implementation, they wanted to see where the students fell. And 35% of the students at Jefferson High had a GPA between 2.0 and 3.0. And with and while the remainder had below 2.0 GPA.
Wow, so it really shows.
It really did show that Jefferson High was, it was suffering. It was very low on the academic levels, and they needed help. So Jefferson High decided to appoint 2 teachers to serve as IB coordinators. And with that, this diverse group of students completed the International Baccalaureate program and went on to attend a 4-year university. Now, would you guys say that if this program had not been implemented, that the chances would have been as high as they were for the students not receiving?
I would have to say probably not.
Probably, and that's the great thing with this program is there's been proven facts that this program has helped. It doesn't matter about where you come from exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what they wanted to prove, was that just because some students may come from lower income housings, that they didn't have to suffer. They didn't have to suffer because of standard
The economic situation.
Exactly. So the IB program has also gained a multiple amount of, let me redo this. The IB program has gained a substantial amount of recognition from all over different universities. And with these students could gain up to 30 credited hours that go towards their college education. So it's like while you're in high school, you don't feel like, what am I going to do with a high school diploma? High school diplomas, they don't really get you anywhere these days. And if you're already halfway done with your associates, it's an amazing jumpstart for these kids.
In conclusion to tonight's report, how do you think international baccalaureate programs have impacted students in today's world?
I would have to say that, they have impacted in a positive way. It's giving these kids something to look forward to. And I believe that it has changed my views on education, because prior to tonight's news report, I wasn't really aware of this international baccalaureate program. And with the knowledge that I have gained, it has definitely changed my views on the possibilities that we could, gain from inserting something like this in our program.
And I agree, because before this report, I didn't even know of this program, and I have high school children, and this would be something very
useful and very
useful.
Something that if I had children, I would want to implement them in this program.
Because it's very helpful, because so many students could use this.
Mm-hmm. It could give them that little nudge to push a little harder, to think,
work a little harder.
Exactly,
just to
work a little harder,
extra harder for those lower income students who are bracketed down there that are like,
and they don't have to live there. You don't have to think these lower income kids should stay there. They should also have a choice and the right to grow and do the best that they could do.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. Y'all have a great night and stay warm.
See you later. Till next time.
Have a good evening.